Yo, what's going on guys, Aaron here and welcome back to another Arknights Beginner's Guide video. I'm sorry this video took forever because tier list took a while, and shout out to Nano, one of my good friends, for finishing the tier list. And I did go through the tier list with him as well, just he did a lot of work compared to me doing it together with him, so really appreciate the work that he's done. And keep in mind, this is based on his personal opinions as a veteran as well, so if any of you are agreeing or disagreeing with any of the operators that I mentioned in this video, make sure to let me know in the comments below, basically. Alright, now this is however gonna include up until Mantra, which you can see right here, S tier, and I'll talk about her in a bit later because this tier list is gonna go all the way to 2026 for global, so hence why you see the title is 2026 tier list instead of like 2025, because I mean, let's be real, it's already November, it's the end of the month already, so I mean, sorry, it's the end of the year, close to the end of the year. But okay, there are some operators I will mainly talk about, and of course the elephant in the room for this video, which is the recently came out on CN, Primex and Silver Ash Alter. There have been a lot of dramas going on for Silver Ash Alter, however, but Primex is a crazy operator to have, which I'll get into that later. Now, let's talk about the main 2025 tier list and a bit into our early global 2026 operators, which is going to be Haruka, Hoshiguma Alter, Togawa Sakiko. I believe I don't want to include Tragodia and Lazy Alter because I believe they will come out this month. Okay, Tragodia will come out this month and Lazy Alter is probably going to come out in the next month, so that's I'm not going to be including the 2026, but you get the idea. Okay, now Tragodia is on S tier, and for obvious reasons, okay, because Tragodia is the first operator to have paralyzed mechanic in the game, which allows enemies to not attack up to 3 times, a maximum of 3 times, and it can be easily refreshed throughout his skill because it takes no literal much interval for him to keep attacking, and that's how broken or OP. I don't want to use the word broken too much because he is OP, however, but I wouldn't say broken level. Okay, he is gonna be able to do a lot of things which a lot of other operators can't, which means most players will be able to use him for a lot of impressive strategies and stuff. It's more up to the players on how you want to play the operators, and again, this tier list is gonna be solely based on personal opinion, so again, if you disagree with whatever I'm saying right now, let me know in the comments area below, and how would you place these operators. Okay, the next one I talk about is Lazy Alter. She's all the way down at B tier. Now this tier list again is made by one of my good friends, Nano, and I would put Lazy on somewhere of like a B plus or A minus tier, but again, Lazy's relevancy in the future patch is not as much, in my personal opinion. Now, she is strong, however, but when it comes to like general clearing or the future events, you just don't use her as much. Of course, unless you like the operator, you are free to build her or whatever. I keep mentioning this. If you like the operator, you can build her or him, depending on which operator you like. And again, it's up to you how you want to play this game, and don't judge off an operator based on how they are performing. If you like the character, just build it. Don't even need to think too much. Okay, alright, now Lazy Alter does not have much things going on for her. I mean, aside from the fact that she is levitating, that the ground enemies cannot target her, that's a good thing. Other than that, she more like is a nuker in a sense. The frequency that people mostly use is skill 2, which allows for multiple charges, and skill 3 is basically like, how should I describe it? It's like Millenar. Okay, so people that have Millenar already, you're free to skip her, but if you don't, then by all means you can try and get her. But looking at the future patches that's coming up for global, it is gonna be very hard for gold players to decide on who they want to pull, so make sure to not regret any of your decisions whatsoever. Carefully think on what you want to do. I'll scroll through all the tier lists later, so you can check out yourself, or if you want to see the full tier list, make sure to join my Discord, link in the description below, and you'll be able to find the tier list in general Arknights chat. Now, moving on, so Lazy Alter and Tragodia aside, we're gonna move on to the next limited, which is Haruka and Hoshiguma Alter, which is at A tier. Now, I want to talk about Hoshiguma Alter first. Hoshiguma Alter is a very impressive defender, okay? She can do damage, she can solo a lot of lanes on her own, but why is she at A tier? Now, from what I understand about her kit, Hoshiguma Alter is more of a better staller. She has 2 times the life points in a sense, because when her HP reaches 0, she does not retreat immediately. Enemies will have to attack more times. Like, she will have this red HP bar, okay? And then once the red HP bar goes full, then only then she'll retreat. That means she is a bit tankier than usual compared to the other defenders, but she just packs a punch. She does do damage. She has good AoE damage intervals, so skills are very impressive. She has a nuke on her S3 as well. But why is she A tier? Now, I'm pretty sure most of you will probably think that, oh, just because she's a defender, she doesn't deserve like higher tier because she's not a DP or something. No, that's entirely wrong. When you use other operators, they don't have the kit as Hoshiguma Alter, but they are sufficient for you to like not even rely on Hoshiguma Alter in most of the situations. And believe me, even if you get Hoshiguma Alter, unless you really like Hoshiguma, there's actually less of a reason for you to play her. I know most people are gonna disagree with me on this, but there are other operators that you can use and way better frequency, more than Hoshiguma Alter. Okay, Hoshiguma Alter is a very good operator. I'm not saying she's bad whatsoever, and she's at A tier because there are just much better operators than her. I am not even kidding. Which leads us on to the next topic of Haruka, which is, in my opinion, very much deserves the S tier. Okay, now if Monster is at S plus tier as the best offensive support healer, Haruka is the best defensive support, and she's an abjurer. Now, Haruka essentially defies what normal healing can do. Now, outside of Monster's constant healing, Haruka alone can sustain your entire team, alright, within her range, and they will just not die because her skill 2 is infinite duration, and she will put out a bubble on the operators in her range, and that bubble, if it explodes, it will do damage to the enemies as well. The damage might seem little, but given the amount of operators she can sustain on her own, the bubbles actually stack damage, and you might not even realize it, but the damage done, although small but in a big amount, it can be very deadly. And not only that, the frequency of her healing is very fast as well. Her attack intervals are not even that long. It's actually fairly short. She can constantly push out heal, refreshing the bubbles, so your operators will not even die if Haruka manages to proc skill 2. I'm not going to go through her skill 3 because skill 3 is essentially like, I don't know, how do I describe her skill 3? Her skill 3 is more or less putting bubbles and nuke, but not in the sense of constant healing. I don't have to describe her skill 3, but her main skill that most people are going to use is skill 2, and of course I will be pulling for her regardless. Now, Hoshiguma Alter, I am not going to be upset if I don't get her, but Haruka is definitely a must-have, and I will say this now, this is my personal opinion. Haruka is genuinely a very good abjurer that everyone should get their hands on, and I'm not even lying, you guys are not going to regret having her on your team, because her survivability boosting to your team is insane. You can look up how Haruka performs online through YouTube or anything, and you'll see how good she performs. Okay, alright, now Haruka and Hoshiguma Alter aside, we are moving on to Togawa. Okay, now Togawa has a lot of drama when she first came out, but she is known as the Thorns killer. Okay, this is some people use because imagine Thorns but global range. That's crazy. Now, the special thing about Togawa is, okay, first of all, she is in fact a collab character from Ave Mujica, so if you don't know what Ave Mujica is, you can look it up. It's from Bang Dream, basically, like a music game, if you know. But Togawa Sakiko's DPS far impresses everyone that they would think, because people would think that collab characters are not gonna perform that well. Well, if you see Yato Alter right here at S+, it's undeniably the truth that Yato Alter very, very much breaks the specialist role in a very insane way. Now, I'm not gonna go through because Exousia Alter being a specialist as well also breaks the game mechanic in its own way, and they are both very, very good. Now, back to Togawa. Imagine Thorns having to like put out his skill 3 and you need to proc it twice to make it infinite duration. But for Togawa, essentially if you have her at M3, her skill 3 won't take that long, and the SP to get it back don't even take that long as well. Now, Togawa essentially always constantly attack. You will see these music notes pop up on her, and it will automatically home into enemies that are close to the music notes. And the damage is not to be underestimated because it is an insane amount of damage once her skill activates. She can freely switch between physical and arts damage throughout her skill 1 and skill 2, but her skill 3 puts out both physical and arts damage. Now, that's not something you'll see on a lot of operators. Well, one exception, of course, being the OG Chen. OG Chen skill 2 does 500% attack, arts attack, and physical attack on her skill 2 nuke, essentially like a heli drop in a sense. And that's probably the only one so far that has both arts and physical damage at the same skill. But if you guys remember any operators, make sure to let me down in the comments below because I actually forgot if there are any other operators. But the most notably is gonna be the OG Chen skill 2. And yes, Toga is definitely strong. The music notes will stop at nothing but will home the boss until they find it. Now, if you haven't seen a clip of what Togawa did to the recent episode 16 boss, the final boss, you should check it out. I will put a link, but I don't have the link. You guys can look out Togawa Sakiko versus episode 16 boss. If you don't mind being spoiled, of course. If you don't want spoilers, then don't look it up. But just so you know, she is insane. Okay? Alright. With Togawa out of the way, let's get over to Mantra. Now, Mantra is definitely gonna be a best in slot partner for Tragodia, and combining those two essentially is like an insane duo that pretty much nukes the entire field. Mantra by no means deals less damage for her class. She pairs Paralyze and makes it into a nuke. It chains between enemies, and that's what makes her output even more deadly than normal. There's not much I can say about Mantra because her kit is very straightforward, although you do need Tragodia to maximize her damage output. Now, by no means I'm asking you guys to pull for Tragodia just because I want you guys to maximize Mantra's potential in terms of lane holding, killing enemies. Not like that. Mantra alone is very self-sufficient. She can do a lot of damage on her own, but paired with Tragodia, it's essentially like every time her skill is up with Tragodia around, it just feels like enemies are not even on the field anymore. Just activate the skill paired with Tragodia. Even tanky enemies don't stand a chance because essentially what Mantra does is limit the paralyzed stacks to 1, and Tragodia normally basically starts with 2 stacks. So the stack that after the maximize of 1 stack, it will essentially become a nuke, or it will basically proc like an explosion, and it does chain between enemies. So that's why you'll see in the showcases like these chain reactions among enemies when Mantra's skills activate is the reason why. Because her skill tree limits the paralyzed stacks to 1, and anything beyond that 1 stack is gonna become an explosion damage, which is very, very insane. Okay. With Mantra out of the way, I just want to quickly go through the final tier list that Nano made for me, so you guys can slowly check it out for yourself and let me know in the comments area below if you agree with this tier list or not. And if you want to see the full tier list on your own, you can come into my Discord again, link will be in the description. And I welcome any new players or veteran players ask any questions about this tier list, because I am gonna still learn. There's still a lot of things I need to learn as well, so again, there are some special tiers which I am not going to be including on top here because this tier list is based on of general content clearing. Okay. Also, I want to mention Rosmontis. Why is she down here? And that's because Rosmontes is not suitable for most normal clearings, and in IS she is very strong, so don't be fooled. She can be used in integrated strategies, but on normal circumstances, there are just better operators in her place, alright? Okay, now before I move on to Silver Ash Alter and Primex Alter, I just want to talk about the S plus tier and the entire S tier first. So S plus we have Deegan Breacher, and I'm pretty sure that this is a fact that Deegan is a very powerful guard. Axial Alter, I need to say less about that. Logos being the most powerful core caster of the day, and he might get dethroned. I'll get into that later. Monster, need I say less? Honestly, Monster is just super strong. Surtur, still strong to this day. Definitely not gonna change too much depending on how the meta shifts, or there's not even gonna be a meta unless it's a contingency contract around that period. But in general, stage clearing, Surtur is just generally useful. And Texas Alter, of course, before Yato Alter, Texas Alter is always the best specialist to date, and she is still usable. By no means she's bad now, she is still usable and very strong. Togawa, I mentioned earlier, global range thorns, a lot of damage, attacks both arts and physical, very good. Wizardel, of course, nuker, don't need to say much, and of course Yato Alter, insane collab character to date, very good. Now we're gonna go quickly take a look on the S tier. We have Ascalon. Ascalon is good, however. Now before Monster, or I think after Monster, right, her banner had a rerun, and the reason why I asked people to skip her is because it just came at a bad timing. Ascalon is a very good operator, but there's not much situation where you would use Ascalon in stages unless you just really like her. Okay, Bagpipe is a core unit or core operator for Vanguard heli drops, and when I say Vanguard heli drops, I mean instant DP activation. Most notably at pot 5 Bagpipe allows another 8 DP, okay, up to 8 DP for your Vanguards, and flag bearers such as Myrtle can instantly activate the second she is deployed when you have her at M3, which is very good. Chongya is something along the lines of standalone operator. You can say he's like Mountain in a sense, but you need to activate him up to 5 times to like make it infinite duration or activate on its own. And Dorothy, not much to say, a trapper, but not much use in this time and day. Aya Alter is still being widely used, very good. Gabriel Alter, not much use these days, but solid operator. Kalstead, still good. Lemuen, I don't need to say much. Lemuen is in fact still a very good boss killer operator, even in the later patches. Ling is a very good solo operator, or summoner supporter basically. Mantra, I just mentioned her, she's very good. Melinar, of course, still very strong. Neural Alter, the only time you would use Neural Alter is if you want extra damage and ignore the deployment count. That's pretty much the use for her in future patches, because there's not a lot of situations where you would use Neural Alter afterwards, and unless you want like someone to like stun for enemies without counting deployment count, then yeah, Neural Alter is the way to go. Nymph is good when you pair her with Virtuosa, because they both deal necrosis damage and they are very strong together. However, Nymph alone does not do as much. She needs to be paired with Virtuosa to bring out her full potential. Tragodia I already mentioned earlier. Kewpie, definitely strong, still strong. I believe you can use her very good in IS, since her skill spam is fairly not that much. Her SP charge is relatively low. Ray is a solid sniper, still good. Shu is probably the best Guardian defender up to date. She does so much that I feel like other defenders just won't come close to her, and that's my personal opinion still, of course. She is a very good defender. I hope to have her on my account someday. And Thorns, of course, still S tier. Regardless of Togawa, Thorns is still solid for newer players, so make sure to have him when you have the chance. And holy shit, I forgot her name. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but well, you'll get the idea. Okay, she's solid. And all pianists, probably the best crusher, more than Hoarder actually, because Alpianus literally took everything from Hoarder, and I know people still like Hoarder, okay? I don't want Hoarder enjoyers come at me for saying this, but yes, Alpianus is definitely better than Hoarder. That's my personal opinion, okay? Don't attack me for this, okay? I don't want Hoarder enjoyers to come and kill me for that. Virtuosa, still solid to this day. You, very good if paired with Blaze Alter, and honestly, Blaze Alter, the only reason why Blaze Alter is at a B tier is because she needs you to bring out her full potential. That's the only reason. And Zola is a Heliger archetype. I forgot what the archetype is. But Zola is a solid guard as well, but not on the priority list. And Ines, being the 6-star go-to vanguard of all time, she is still good. So if you have Ines, don't hesitate to build her. Or if you see her in the gold cert shop, make sure to exchange her if you have enough gold certs. She is still worth the money to put on, right? Now, it's time to move on to Silver Ash Alter, and I'm gonna be talking about what the drama is about in the CN community and along with other global players once they saw what he does, okay? I had to hydrate a bit, sorry. And now, Silver Ash Alter is a strategist vanguard. It's a new archetype, okay? Now, before I go through the drama, I just want to give you guys a heads up, okay? Silver Ash Alter is meant to be played as a supportive vanguard and not a DPS type. Like Backpack can still do a lot of damage as a charger, okay, but not meant to be a pure DPS vanguard. The drama surrounding Silver Ash Alter is, although his supportive abilities are strong, he does not do that much damage. Now, I'm gonna be going through Silver Ash Alter's second skill for the most part, and I'm gonna be explaining what his kit does alongside his talents, okay? And I want you guys to see why Silver Ash is best played as a supportive vanguard instead of changing him to a DPS type vanguard. Now, I don't want to go through the basic stuff. I'm gonna go through the talents first, okay? So, if you have him in the team, okay, so once you have him in the team, you will always have this special undeployable the Eye of Frost, okay? It direct translates to Eye of Frost. So it's like a summon thing that you have. If you, let's say if you have Ling, right, if you deploy her, you will have these dragons to deploy, right? So in his case, there will be Eye of Frost in the deployment order, but you cannot deploy it. It's meant to be as a placeholder, okay? So any operators that are the closest or the left part to the most left part of Eye of Frost will have certain effects based on how you upgrade him. So for the first talent, so at E2, alright, the Eye of Frost, the operator that is closest to it will have initial SP +4 and the next redeployment time -20%. Now, that alone already says a lot of things. It does a lot. It might seem not much, but for certain contingencies, for some hard stages or like the challenge modes, this is very useful when it comes to countering certain aspects of the mechanics the stage wants you to be restricted of. Now, second talent is gonna be limited to the Kejak operators, which means they will be immune to cold or frozen, and their defense will be +60 every single second. Oh, sorry, not +60 every single second. The defense will +60, and every second will recover 1.5% max HP. And after 15 seconds of deployment time, the defense and HP recovery will be doubled. This is, however, limited to only Kejak operators, but by no means it's bad, okay? And seeing as how he's always paired with Primex, I'd say that's a win actually. Okay, now I'm gonna be quickly going through his skill. So for newer players that wants to know what it does for skill 1, alright? So for skill 1, immediately gets 10 deeply, okay? So in the deployment or the deployment order, right, the Eye of Frost, the operator that's closest to it will have -5 deployment cost. Prioritizes the closest guard, caster, or sniper operators, and once deployed, gets Silver Ash max HP up to 50% of barrier. That is insane. Now, I don't get why people want him to do more damage. I get it that he's a Vanguard and before he is a guard, however, but now that he's a Vanguard, I would suggest having him perfectly as is, because it's not really a problem for him to like become a supportive Vanguard, because I kind of want the old Silver Ash to retire, okay? The old Swing era is probably over, the new era begins. Having him supporting the other fellow operators is actually way better, and when you see how much he can do just by supporting the other operator, you'll change your mind for sure. And I'm pretty sure I can't change some people's minds about him, but regardless, I'm gonna try my best to explain why he is good this way. And pretty much the signature skill for Silver Ash, it's not skill 3, however, I'm not gonna be going through skill 3, I'm gonna be going through skill 2 for the most part. Skill 2 gives Silver Ash the OG Silver Ash skill 3 range, the string range, okay? It's a very large range. And I'm gonna be talking about what this does. It's an insane. Let me tell you, it's insane, okay? Alright, so at M3, targets a maximum of 6 enemies, dealing 380% of his physical attack, and within 6 seconds, causes cold and loses invisibility, okay? So, in the deployment order, the operator that's closest to Eye of Frost will have their deployment cost minus by 11, and this is stackable, by the way, mind you. This is stackable, however, so you can keep proccing this skill, and then the operator will end up having 0 DP at the end if you manage to like just spam the skill. And if you really want the operator to be 0 DP cost, just spam this skill. Now I don't want you guys to like just mindlessly spam this skill just to get a DP cost, but initial deployment, of course, you can just activate immediately, it's fine. And if you have Bagpipe here, this is instant activation, because at pot 5, Bagpipe plus 8 DP costs to the initial Vanguard, so Silver Ash will be able to immediately activate this skill. That's why Bagpipe is still useful. So if any of the new players are still hesitating to whether to get Bagpipe or not, that's my answer to that question. Okay. Now, the best part of this skill is it allows the operators that are deployed throughout the left side of the Eye of Frost unleash this skill up to a maximum of twice. Do you have any idea how good that is? Now, I'm pretty sure there are already plenty of showcases on YouTube. You guys can check it out how it performs, but let me tell you, this skill is absurd. It is very insane that he can make everyone does the Silver Slash for free. And you can abuse specialists, mind you. You can like literally deploy Phantom, Gravel, or anyone that you want, and they will still do a lot of damage. And I'm not even kidding. You can go ahead and look it up yourself. I'm not gonna go through the videos because, of course, I don't want to get copyright strike for mentioning their video and stuff. So I hope you guys understand that. But just so you know, this skill is pretty much the main skill that people are gonna be using a lot of times because it just helps so much when it comes to mob clearing. Stages that start off with a lot of mobs, or people that, let's say, newer players that come later and want to reroll on this anniversary event, they will be able to utilize this skill. And if they can get Silver Ash Alter to E1 as soon as possible, they don't even have to like get it to like M3, because even at level 1 it already can charge twice. That's how good this is. Like, ignoring the damage that Silver Ash Alter gives, just being able to do multiple slashes despite being at E1 without leveling up the skill is already good as is. And this is why I think Silver Ash should be kept as is, as the supportive Vanguard that he is right now, because he just makes everyone really good in a sense. Because even the niche operators, if you try to like use it on special stages, like in the tier list I mentioned earlier, there are some special cases where you only use those operators at. He makes them literally do a Silver Slash and do a lot of damage on top of it. Now, this is, however, going to be played with more specialist operators whatsoever. So, I think the best way to play with this skill is, of course, I've seen people combine Alpianus with him. It is very, very strong. But the main way to play this is, of course, if you want to spam this passive, have a lot of specialists in the deployment order and then just spam the specialist. you can just watch Silver Slash all over the map. And mind you, this does target air units, so it is insane. Okay, having losing invincibility and casting cold on them is already insane as is as well. So I don't want to like say that he's bad because he doesn't do damage, but I want to say he's good because he's helping a lot of operators shine. That's the main part of Silver Ash Alter in my personal opinion. Alright, now her S3, his S3 just basically makes everyone in his range lose invincibility and deal like somewhat like a AoE damage, alongside with getting up to 24 DP. You get 4 immediately and then get up to 24 after finishing it, so you get 28 DP in a total of, which is probably the most you can get out of any other Vanguard up to date. And it just basically makes everyone in his range lose invincibility and inflict 15% fragile. I think it goes up to 30%, yeah, 30% fragile at M3. Now, do I think he needs a buff? I don't think so. I think he's strong as is already, and I personally would probably keep him. I need to stop using her because I kept talking about female operators, so I'm sorry guys. But yes, I do think he can be kept as is, because although the drama aside from like his damage is not enough, I do think that he is very sufficient for how he is right now. He's just good. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to like change some people's minds about him, but this is just through my personal opinion. Of course, you are free to disagree, but he is good as a limited operator. And now, how I would put him in the tier list, alright? Will I put him in S plus? Not really. I would put him in S tier for sure. He's at least S tier. Of course, he can be like S plus for anyone else, but just on that, I think he deserves to be put on S tier. And let me know if you guys agree with my placement for him. And yeah, now moving on, we have Primex Alter. Now, Primex Alter is a phalanx caster, and let me tell you, the reason why I said Logos might be dethroned soon is because she is unironically better than Logos. Now, people are gonna disagree with me saying, oh, Logos can deal elemental damage, but she can't. Yeah, that's true. She can't deal elemental damage, but can Logos do what she does? Absolutely not. Let me tell you why. Now, Phalanx Caster, the way their kits work is they don't normally attack first, alright? So when they don't attack, they have increased defense and res. So as you can see here, defense plus 200% and odds res have 20. Okay, now her passive or her talent is what makes her a very strong caster. Okay, now you would think normal caster behavior is just dealing damage and that's it, but her kit goes way farther than what anyone would imagine, because I'm gonna talk about the E2. Okay, I'm not gonna go to the module levels because it's just different, and it is better to have her module, but I'll get into that later. Now, at E2, okay, this is her first talent. Okay, so in her attack range, every 5.5 seconds can generate a stack of snow. So enemy that walks through the snow will take 75% of her attack as arts damage, and every enemy that walks past the snow will have their their movement speed reduced by 12%, and this will go up to 5 stacks. So it can go up to 60% movement speed reduction, which is very, very good. Now, the first enemy that escapes this snow tile will make the snow stack becomes gone. Okay, so the snow stack will be reduced, or the snow will just completely gone from that tile. So if you want to play her well, I would suggest having like a defender and just stack enemies on top of that snow tile for as long as possible. So don't let them leave that tile if you want the enemy to be there, you know, and then they just keep taking damage and they will just have their movement speed slowed there while having to like deal damage to your defenders to get out of the way. Second talent is every time enemies take damage from her, they will get cold for 1.5 seconds. if they receive lethal damage, if she receives lethal damage, immediately recovers full of her HP and becomes frozen for 4 seconds. And every enemy in her attack wave will become frozen for 8 seconds. Essentially, this is like second life. It's kind of like a resurrection in a way, but I don't know if this one will like have a limit in one stage. But if this does not have a limit in a stage, then this talent alone is enough to make her stand in that stage forever, as how long you want it to be, because she's not dying. It's actually crazy. Like, this talent makes us evolve these super strong. Not only that, her first talent made enemies slow. That's already a insane debuff on the enemy, and inflict cold on the enemies, which is very, very good. And enemies that attack her will also gets a cold stack. Essentially, you want to compare her as the Last Knight in a sense, because when you attack the Last Knight, you'll get a cold stack, and once it reaches 3, you will get frozen. So it works the same way as her. Okay, enemies that attack her will get frozen when they attack her 3 times. I'm so excited to play her when she comes out to global, but we'll get to that later. Alright, I'm gonna talk about her main use of skill 2. Okay, this is an infinite duration skill, and I'm telling you, this is not even gonna take as much as you would think for an infinite duration. For comparison, Skadi Alter as a bard, she needs 60 SP to use her infinite duration skill 2, but for her, she only needs 45. And at M3, she deals 380% of arts damage, and when Snow gets up to 5 stacks, when it reaches 5 or it surpasses 5 stacks, it will spread up to a total of 20 tiles. And imagine how big that would be. Okay, imagine how big that would be. That's crazy. And one of the special passes for this skill is enemies that walk on the snow tile will receive her 20% of arts damage every single second. When they are, as long as they're in that snow tile, they will be taking 20% of the arts damage for as long as it's there. It is actually insane. That's why I told you guys earlier, you can have like a defender blocking the enemy and just have them staying there while she does not only DOT but constant arts damage as well. And mind you, this is infinite duration for 380% arts damage. Now this is probably the main reason why people call her the out surpassing Logos, because Logos is the strongest caster we've seen so far up to date, but Primex Alter might take that spot. And of course, some people might disagree, but I'm just putting it out there. This is my personal opinion. I do think she's stronger than Logos just based off how this is. And not just because that it doesn't matter if she has elemental damage or not. Her damage output and utility is so insane that the snow stacks can actually freeze the blue box. You heard me right. It can freeze the blue box. And once it's fully frozen, the ice cube that's frozen on the blue box has its own HP, defense, and res. So respectively, the blue box that got frozen has 3500 HP, 800 defense, and 15 res. And that's how absurd it is. I saw someone like test it out on Tallulah's JT8-3, and Tallulah is struggling to break it. Now Tallulah alone deals a lot of damage, but it's so funny seeing Tallulah trying to like break the blue box ice to go in. Because before, enemies that are unblockable, now I haven't seen any videos regarding that, but I'm not sure if the enemies that are unblockable, like Crown Slayer, that can teleport in there, but I haven't checked out any videos that are out there. So if you guys have any insights, or if you guys already tested her out, let me know in the comments area below. Let me know if it works on unblockable enemies or the enemies that can teleport through an operator or a tile once they reach a certain HP threshold. But regardless, this skill is super strong for infinite duration. The damage is not too shabby. It's very, very a lot. Oh, that's grammar issue. It's a lot. Okay. And when it provides snow to the blue box and eventually freezing it so the enemies can't go in, that's already a good thing in my book. It's very, very strong. Now, her skill tree is nothing much to talk about. Like, the skill 2 is the main elephant in the room here for her kit, but for her skill 3, it basically increases her attack range, lure enemies to her attack range, and for 10 seconds, the snow generation will be increased. attack plus 10%, attack speed plus 30, attacks ignore 10 of the enemy's art res, and afterwards every time she attacks will attack up to a 260% of arts damage. Basically, I'm sorry, this one is just level 1. I'm gonna take a look at M3. So up to the snow damage DOT, attack increased by 100%, attack speed plus 30, and attacks ignore 10 res. I'm sorry, I was looking at level 1. Anyway, if I compare the value between skill 3 and skill 2, I would say skill 2 for the long term, because it's just that consistent, and being able to defend your blue box while attacking is a rare feat. And how would I rate her? Definitely S+. That is my opinion. I would put Primex Alter at S+, just because of the sheer utility and damage she can do, while having the cold mechanic that the Last Knight has in IS3. The Last Knight is very annoying to deal with for sure, but having that into an operator is actually fun. I can't wait to try her out. But yes, I would put Silver Ash Alter at somewhat S tier, or could be S+. But Primex Alter is definitely an S+ for me, because she is just that good. And can she surpass Logos? In my opinion, I think she can. And yeah, that is pretty much it for my tier list. So I'm sorry if this video took a long while to make, because there's just a lot of operators. And again, shout out to Nano for finishing this tier list for me. And of course, if any of you wants to view the full tier list, you can come over to my Discord. A link will be in the description. And that'll be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It's free. You can change your mind anytime. But yeah, regardless, there will be some new videos coming up as well. Not it's gonna be about other games, but stay tuned for that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Aaron. See you guys in my next video.